Welcome back, my fellow degenerates. And good lord, what a great divisional round weekend that was. So a lot of things that I wanted to happen happened. So it was an even better weekend than we expected. I wanted the Commanders to win, and my hopes and dreams came true more than I could have expected. Like, good lord, Jaden Daniels. You just look so good out there. So exciting to see. If you're a Commanders fan, like you gotta be the happiest kid in the world right now. So yeah, some great games this weekend. We liked it a lot. So, in this episode, I'm going to break down these games, talk about what we like from teams, what we didn't like from teams, my thoughts on them, give a little insight into what we think about for the AFC and NFC championships games. We got the Chiefs and the Bills, we got the Eagles and the Commies. And then also, I'll go over my picks from this last week as well as Dan's picks. We both did pretty well, 3-1, some different choices, but we like that. Good job by us. Little pat on the back. But that's all I got about for the intro. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Like, subscribe, ask me your football related questions, whatever you want, your non-football related questions. But we'll be here. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Peace.
In audio.
What's up, guys? We're here again. We're doing a divisional round wrap up. So let's get right into it. First off, of course, we had some banger games this week ups, some upsets, some favorites winning. Really enjoyed the weekend. Almost every game delivered. They were all close games. So let's just start off with our predictions. Me and Dan, we both went 3-1 on our predictions. We had some different answers, though. I had the Commies beating the Lions, which happened. Great game by the Commies. And then Dan had the Eagles beating the Rams. I thought the upset was going to happen. It didn't take place. So, yeah, we both ended up going 3-1. So we like that. We like that. One of the fun facts from this weekend, I suppose, is every team that ended up winning was the team that won the turnover battle, despite having fewer total yards as on an offense. So, yeah, the Chiefs had less yards, the Commies had less total yards, the Bills had less yards, and the Eagles had less yards, but they all had won the turnover battle. So that was the theme of the weekend, was winning the turnover battle. All right, let's jump into the games here. We started off the weekends with the Chiefs versus the Texans. 23-14 was the final score. Honestly, it was a pretty slow starting game. Nothing too exciting happened. A lot of field goals to kick it off. Kareem Hunt found the end zone in the first half. And then the main storyline of this game, I'll just talk about it, is the refs. I mean, everybody's talking about the refs. The post game, Will Anderson, D'Amico Ryans, Joe Mixon, they're all talking about the refs, right? We knew we didn't have a chance, where we knew we had to fight not only the Chiefs but the refs. So yeah, I mean, the refs, they did have some questionable calls. I think the big two questionable calls that everyone's pointing to, they may or may not have been right. But I'm gonna go Chiefs fan here. Is I'm gonna You can see, I can totally see why both calls were made the way they were. The first roughing the passer call that happened, Mahomes on that third down was, um, I think they could have overturned it for sure. But from the angle the ref was standing, there was like no question that you have to throw that flag, right? I mean, the way it's called, it looked like clear helmet to helmet contact. I understand why they threw the flag. And I think picking up flags is great and all, but there's just no system to it of like, is every flag up for review to get picked up or not? So obviously that one didn't work out for the Texans, but those kind of calls happen. And then the other one as well, I think, is more so less to blame it on the Chiefs. I mean, Mahomes is the biggest abuser of this whole dance around, fake slide. Am I sliding? What's going on? Trying to draw contact. So that's for sure. I'm not denying that, but I don't know, man. The refs called it in accordance what it is, and I think the rule is fucking terrible. I think the quarterbacks should be able to get hit when they're doing that kind of thing. But with how the year's gone, obviously the Texans didn't hit him in the head. They actually hit each other in the head, so not good for them. But it's still the intentions of, they both were lowering their helmets, trying to go for Mahomes. Like I don't know. I don't think it's as egregious as everyone makes it. I could be wrong. So they definitely did get a little bit lucky on that first call, but I understand why both flags were thrown. So, um, yeah, moving forward, I hope this offseason the league changes the whole like scramble bullshit of sliding like last minute or the fake slide. I hope somebody remembers the Kenny Pickett fake slides from college because those were absolutely electric. But yeah, so first half, like we said, very close game. Just a couple of field goals, Kareem Hunt sneaking into for the touchdowns, and then in the second half, the Chiefs started to pull away as they usually do. Um, there's no turnovers in this game for the Texans. They had quite a few penalties. I believe it was 8 for 80 yards, so they really killed themselves on that front. They just really couldn't find the end zone was the big thing. Their drives were just penalties, just fucking themselves over, not being able to find the end zone. So they got a little cheeky 2 point safety at the end for the Chiefs running out of the back of the end zone, but that was just to burn clock. So yeah, tough game for the Texans. That being said, they didn't really make too many like egregious mistakes like some of these other teams made in the divisional round weekend. So I'm excited for them heading forwards. I mean, Will Anderson looks like the real deal. He looks like one of the best defenders in the league. So obviously, he was a rookie last year, so as a second-year player, super exciting to see. Still only in year two of CJ Stroud and D'Amico Ryans as well. So yeah, excited for this team moving forward. Pretty standard style Chiefs win. The next game of the weekend, was the Lions and the Commanders. Commanders coming out with a 45-31 win. And good lord, this game was such a banger, dude. I just couldn't believe what was happening in front of my eyes. I mean, that second quarter, I believe there was 42 points scored total in the second quarter. We had over a 50-point total heading into halftime. So yeah, it was just absolutely electric. A couple of the big storylines, of course, was obviously the turnovers were a big thing. The 5 turnovers to 0, like huge difference. You can't win a game with 5 turnovers unless you're playing against the Texans, like in the regular season with Goff. But yeah, I think a bigger story from this game other than the Lions with the 5 turnovers is just Jaden fucking Daniels, man. Jaden Daniels looks so good out there. He's just composed. He doesn't when there's pressure, he doesn't panic. He's seems to always do the right thing. He doesn't give up on plays, but he knows when to throw the ball away, not take too many risks. We saw the 0 turnovers for him, which is amazing to see. So I mean, yeah, he's just so composed. He looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the league already. Like just so elite, just great decision making. Like you have to be so excited if you're a Commanders fan. Like great performance from Jaden. Like good lord. So and then I just another big takeaway from this game, 31-21 heading into halftime. So the Commanders 10-point two-score lead. Um, Lions come out and they score touchdown. We get in 3 points, and that's exciting. And then the Lions are down 3 and they choose to run this fucking trick play with Jameson Williams throwing the ball. And I know Jared Goff got absolutely rocked. He probably got a concussion and that kind of snuck under the table, even though it was televised to everyone, like destroyed. So he had a rough game, but I just don't know why you're throwing the ball with Jameson Williams. Like, yeah, he can throw a spiral and he can throw it far, but like there's on these trick plays, the quarterbacks or the wide receivers that are throwing the ball, they never have the correct decision making. They just know what the play is and they'll try and squeeze it in there. And I think it was to Jameer Gibbs to throw, but it was like double coverage. There was like no shot that ball was going in there. Even if it was like I don't know, Tom Brady throwing the ball, like, it wasn't getting in where it was. It was just no chance to make the throw. He throws it, they get the pick, they get the touchdown off of it, and it is just like an absolute team killer. So, yeah, I like these plays that the Lions do sometimes, but they're just not sustainable long term. They're not gonna work out against these other good teams. So their coaching staff is getting absolutely pillaged this offseason. I mean, Ben Johnson already gone. Aaron Glenn probably gone as well. They're losing some other positional coaching staffs and assistants. So we'll see what they look like going forward. But this is for sure a disappointment as the 1 seed losing to the 6 seed Commanders here. Um, but yeah, Jaden Daniels, player of the weekend for sure. Super exciting. Um, the next game we had was the Eagles versus the Rams, 28-22. And I think the box score here makes the game look a little bit closer than it was. Um, it wasn't like a high scoring game or anything. Obviously, a ton of snow, which makes a huge impact. But outside of a late push from the Rams, it seems like really the Eagles were in control of this game. Main thing, obviously, Saquon Barkley. Snow game, he had two 60-yard plus runs. I think one was 68, one was 72, both ending up in scores. He had over 200 rushing yards. Like, you just can't stop this man. It's got to be like some of the fastest snow speed out there, is what everyone's saying. So, yeah, I mean, Hertz looked a little underwhelming once again, but it's just, you can't actually blame him or anything. It worked out well. The snow impacts playing in snow is so much harder than you think. Obviously, we had multiple games with snow this weekend, but yeah, playing in the snow sucks. It's hard to get a grip on the ball. It's hard to get a grip on the ground. Like when you're running routes, when you're even blocking, like touching the ball, it's slippery. Everything sucks in the snow. So obviously they're professionals, but and like you just can't predict. Every condition is different. Sometimes it's a little more dry, a little more wet. So, yeah, I think the Eagles did well in that aspect. They won the turnover battle as well. So, yeah, I don't really have too much to say about this. The Rams like made a little push at the end where we had some hope, where they got the safety on Jalen Hurts, and I believe after that they got the ball back and I think, yeah, that was the fumble session. So they fumbled twice in their own territory. Once Kyron Williams, once Matt Stafford. I believe both were already in the fourth quarter. So it was just like they only turned into field goals, but it's hard to move the ball in this weather, like we said. So that was really just like the nail in the coffin for them. So that's tough to see. But yeah, so congrats to the Eagles. They'll be hosting next week the Commanders. Super excited for that game. Um, and then the final game of the week was the banger we were all waiting for. And I'd say it delivered was the Bills took down the Ravens 27-25. And oh, this was a sweet one. I'm the resident Lamar hater on this channel, so it's a little bit of glorious for me to see him lose once again in the playoffs. I like pushing that narrative of he can't win the big one because it's true. I mean, he can. He just fucking fumbled the win away again. So I will say to Lamar's credit, every time he loses in the playoffs is he makes mistakes and then he just looks so lost. And that wasn't the case for this game. Obviously, terrible first half by Lamar. Um, yeah, just awful first half. The interception, the fumble, both inexcusable plays. That being said, they were only down 10 going into halftime, which is like pretty decent for the two first half turnovers. And in the second half, he really like brought himself together, played a much better game. So we haven't really seen the comeback from him. So that was exciting to see. But they couldn't pull it all together down the stretch. Mark Andrews, good Lord, I think everybody is blaming him, which is understandable given both the fumble and mainly the 2-point conversion drop. It was just, yeah, it was a tough one. So it happens in the NFL. Players drop balls they shouldn't drop. Players make plays they shouldn't make. So, yeah, that's tough to see for Lamar to lose. Obviously, Josh Allen is great. They were able to run the clock out after that and win the game. So, um, I think in the media, the narrative is a lot of Lamar did nothing. Lamar did everything he could. Lamar tried to put the team on his back. They let him down, kind of thing. Um, and I really think in the second half there, like he did do a great job, and you can't take away from that. But he's the one who put them in the hole that early. It's team game. So you can't just shift all the blame to Mark Andrews. They shouldn't have been in that position. The fact that they were with the three turnovers, being able to get the ball with 3.5 minutes left, down by 8 is like amazing. So they played well, just not well enough. They got to iron out those small mistakes. So Bills obviously played great. Their rushing attack is one of the best in the leagues. Everyone always talks about the Ravens rushing attack, but in terms of just like the tempo of the game and then how everything goes between both Josh and James Cook, even Ray Davis in there, they really just control the game. So that was super awesome to see. Excited to see them go to Arrowhead next week. See if Josh can finally go get over that hump that is Mahomes. So um, yeah. So talking about that, we'll move to our picks for next week. Just me, obviously. So Unfortunately for Josh, I think his run ends here. I think the Chiefs take them down. I'm hoping for another good game, but we'll see. I think both these teams like to dictate the pace of the game. So I think that's going to be a battle. And I think every single possession starting from the get go is going to be very important. So minimizing mistake is going to be huge in this game. Um, and I don't think either team can afford to panic and turn the ball over. So super excited to see. I'm sure the Chiefs are favored. And then moving over to the NFC, we have the Commanders going into Philadelphia, and I'm gonna pick the Commanders here, the underdog. I like the underdog story, especially with this team. I was not a Jaden Daniels believer at all. I thought his passing game wasn't going to translate to the NFL. I thought Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr. carried him through college. Turns out they're just all fucking unbelievable studs in the NFL. They were all good. So what do I know? But I just Jaden's so composed out there. Obviously, the Eagles, they're a tough team, but so are the Lions. So are the Bucks. Jaden already overcame both of them. I would love for the storyline of him to keep this going. We love the storylines here. So fuck the Eagles, fuck Dan. We're taking Jaden to beat Saquon and the Eagles. And yeah, that's all I got for this episode. Pretty much next week, I'll go over the coaching hires around the league. We've had so many, like I mentioned earlier. Um, and I think over the next week, some of them will shake out a little bit more. Some are all but confirmed, like Aaron Glenn to the Jets as of right now. Pete Carroll apparently to the Raiders, I think is official as of today. Next year, he'll be the oldest head coach ever in the NFL history. So, yeah, we'll see how that works out. But I'll talk about how those impact like fantasy players, fantasy teams. I know we're super early in the offseason, but these kind of times for dynasty leagues can be the time to make moves, take advantage of your teammates who panic, don't panic, that kind of thing. So I'm sure if you're up to date on social media, you can see like, oh, get this Bears wide receiver, get Rome. He's going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown or DJ Moore revival. He's going to be the best, which I think can be the case, but like people are overreacting so much. So, yeah, we'll see how this all shakes out next week and talk about the coaching updates. That's about all I got. So, good luck to the teams that you guys want to win, and have a good weekend, everyone. Peace.